Internet trolls, what's your worst troll that made you feel terrible afterwards? In high school I went on the computer in my science class. Opened Word. Typed the word poop. And then printed 100 copies or so. The teacher told me I was very immature and I felt a little bad. Then for the next week every handout we got in class had the word poop printed on the back and I stopped feeling bad. Because that was hilarious. My mom went out for groceries and while she was gone, I somehow convinced my younger brother that she had arranged to send him away to a summer camp. Why would she do this and not tell me? Mom's sorry she wasn't here to say goodbye. After a hysterical meltdown, he miraculously came to terms with the fact that he was going. We furiously packed up all of his belongings and I told him to wait on the front porch until the bus came to pick him up. 10 minutes later, my mom pulls up in front of the house, only to find her little boy sobbing with half a dozen packed suitcases. Needless to say I was grounded for quite some time after, but 20 plus years later, I still carry a little bit of guilt from that prank. When I was in the Navy, we were often tasked to repaint various parts of the submarine to prevent rust. I was told to repaint part of the engine room lower level bilge. I hate painting, so naturally I painted a bunch of dicks. The paint was the same color so they were mostly unnoticeable. Turns out that a year or so later when another dude got assigned to paint the same spot, he chose not to paint but reported that he was finished. His division officer did a spot check and noticed the preponderance of phallic hieroglyphs and assumed he did it. He kept saying that he didn't do it, but then he had to admit that he hadn't painted. He was busted down from E5 to E4 and restricted to the boat for 60 days. He had to paint every bilge in the engine room by himself. Luckily they didn't remember who had painted last because the guy who had assigned it to me the last time was already gone. I was also gone by that point, but a buddy of mine relayed the story to me. I did not confess. My stepbrother told a small child on Xbox Live that Santa wasn't real. Turns out he wasn't aware of that. That was pretty funny. I got drunk and posted a pic of a guy eating a turd to our foot porn. I am now banned from our foot porn. I used to troll on Omegle by pretending to be different people. Sometimes I was a doctor. Other times I was a policeman, etc. I tried to get everyone to know I was bulleting by getting more and more ridiculous as time went on. But this one time, I pretended to be a publisher and it just so happened that one of the people I talked to was an aspiring author. To be honest, the little bits they shared with me weren't actually that awful. Of course, me being the it I was though decided that I couldn't outright say that I was lying. So I decided to make up a story saying that I would be happy to talk to others about publishing the story. I just needed some time. I made a new email address, gave it to them, and told them I would get back to them within a week. So a month later I remembered about this incident and decided to just tell them that I couldn't do it. I checked the email of that account and saw 3 emails from the person. The first one was just asking if there was any update and saying how thankful they were that I was doing this. The second one was about how they had found another publisher and would go down that route if I didn't respond. Then there was the third one. The person told me their life story. TBH, the details are a little fuzzy, but I like they came from a poor family and their parents were super strict about them reading and writing for whatever reason. They had to go to the public library under the guise of hanging out with friends in order to get their reading time in. When they eventually moved out of their hometown, they severed all ties with their parents and were struggling to get by day to day. At the end of that email though, they told me something I will never forget. To can play this game, I never trolled on Omegle again. It would be called trolling by today's standards. But back in the day, 1999 to 2000, me and a couple of online friends would go on random chat rooms, typically gaming ones, and annoy some of the guys on it. One time I remember, even 15 years later, was when a friend and I were on some chat room, I can't remember which one specifically, and a random guy asked me out, so I said yes, jokingly of course. He talked to me in private and must have genuinely thought I was actually his girlfriend. So I was playing along. and sending the messages to my friend, and we'd sit there and laugh at what he was saying to me. Such as calling me gorgeous even though he didn't know what I looked like. Saying he really loved me, etc. I went back the day after, just in general. Not to annoy him again. And turns out that after me and my friend had left chat, he was talking to the others on chat about me and how I was the best girlfriend he ever had and stuff. It turned out he was autistic. And had no idea that I was joking. I felt so crappy after that. I'd have never done it if I knew that were the case. I went back on the chat a few times to apologize to him. But I didn't see him again. Slippy too. If you ever read this, I am so sorry. X for Chana here. We started a pray for Ellen hashtag. Fake. We made everything up. It was about her, Ellen DeGeneres, contracting AIDS. Tons of people believed it. She addressed it. It was crazy. There was this website that if you went to it, a giant flashing Rickroll video would come up and then endless pop-ups of Rickroll glory would start coming up. I tried this originally at school, on Macs, and it worked fine. Nothing bad happened to the computer. I went to a friend's house later that week and tricked him into going on the site. Whole computer started acting weird. Had to reboot. And his user profile on Windows got wiped and he lost all of his files, game saves. Duck the Rickroll. Edit, since people are asking for link. Sorry guys. This was years ago. Can't remember the link. I pretended to be a girl on Omegle and got a guy to give me money over PayPal and bought Terraria. That's not trolling. That's scamming, and since you got Terraria you shouldn't regret it. I'm 31 and I know this isn't the internet troll, but I wanted to get this off my chest. When I was like 15 I called a classmate and said I kidnapped your mother. Just being idiot teenagers who pranked over telephone and nothing else. He kept saying, "Do you know who this is?" I said yes. He asked who? I said his name. He said, "What the duck?" So I just hung up. My friend asked me if that was so. I said yeah, why? He said his mother died a year ago. I felt so bad. I would see him in school and he would always still talk to me. Saw him a couple times after HS and we would have a few drinks. A year after that he got into drugs and committed suicide. Never could get over his mom. I feel so horrible. I wish I could have said I was sorry, but I always thought he wouldn't believe me that I didn't know. Duck. A few friends and I raided a steamer midstream. Pink Sparkles. She had a donation bot that would read off every donation message in the voice of Google Translate bot. My friends and I made sure to pray off this. We copy pasted the word pancake hundreds of times. The donation bot read the word pancake. Full volume for like 10 minutes. It got to the point where she started, fake, crying. I guess this doesn't answer your question. Because I don't feel bad. Edit. People saying I got trolled because I donated her money. I did not. There's a small window of time to revoke the donation while still getting the message played. When I was in high school around 14-15 years old, everybody was playing Counter-Strike, and so was I. L33 speak was hitting its all-time high. In computer class we were just playing around with the computers, when I stumbled upon the Wikipedia page of my hometown. To my astonishment, my city was founded in 1336. You can imagine my excitement. Not even thinking about it for 1 minute. I edited the Wikipedia page to 1337. I'm from Germany, and sent the link to all of my friends. That were the days in which you could still edit Wikipedia pages without much hassle. My friends chuckled for a while and I forgot about it. About 10 years later, I check out the Wikipedia page again. It still says 1337. I tried to edit it back and told the authors I changed it 10 years ago. But they don't believe me. Now, even in the English Wikipedia, it says 1337. In my hometown's tourist information and homepage it says 1337 and cites Wikipedia as a source. TLDR, guess my hometown will be L33T forever. A friend I met through Xbox told me he once convinced a kid that there was a creature in Halo 3, Odst, called the Easter Marsupial. He explained that killing this creature would grant you recon armor in Halo 3 multiplayer, but that it only appeared on Easter. He ran around with this kid in the campaign giving him fake clues and then killing himself to really convince this poor kid. If you even mention Easter Marsupial, he leaves the party. And it's glorious. Man, I hope this doesn't get buried. But I have an awesome military story. So, there's this guy, a staff sergeant, in our platoon, married with 4 kids. One on the way. He uses plenty of fish at work. And some of our E4s got his username. They come up with this elaborate plan. Create a profile with pictures and the whole shebang. And start chatting him up. This goes on for a month. He told fake profile that we nicknamed him Sparkplug because he gets things started around here. That was complete bullet. Dude couldn't pass a PT test for the life of him. No idea how he got his 6. Anyways. Old Sparky is really into fake profile girl and brags. Even shows the guys at work, look at this hottie. She's totally into me. They have a hard time containing their laughter. Usually walking away holding laughter under their breath. By this point, the whole platoon is in on it. All the way up to our captain and major. Sparky even had the audacity to send dick pictures from the hospital where his wife was getting an ultrasound. I can't make this it up. Absolute scumbag. Anyways. A month passes and we get him to agree to meet fake profile girl at a restaurant. We all show up. The entire platoon of around 40. And have our biggest guy wear a wig, 350 pounds. Solid ducking muscle. The look on his face when he realized he done goofed was a mixture of terror, shock, and humiliation. We had dinner and busted his balls the entire time. From that point on, he was known as Sergeant Sparky. And not even E1s would respect him. Even the officers let the E1s rag on him. Soon after he was fired from the unit. There is no regret. Duck that guy. Saw a 4chan raid thread. It was a link to some guy's Twitch. After about 30 minutes of making him, and his friend who was with him, scream at us, I managed to log on to his Twitch account. I splurted all kinds of words in the chat. Got him to Skype me. Held his account for ransom and then used his stream key to stream porn. He was banned shortly after. A few days later he asked me on Skype why I did it. I felt so bad I couldn't reply. See, there's a point where trolling crosses over into bullying and ruining. In the late 1990s I used to program in Visual Basic. There was a kid in my grade who was always harassing me on AOL to teach him how to program. But he never seemed interested in reading any of the links I sent him to actually learn to program. All he cared about was doing very specific things. And would beg me to send him source code which he would proceed to copy and paste. And then take credit for. I eventually got sick of this. So I embed lines in my source code which would delete AOL from his computer. But only 1 out of every 10 times. So many RuneScape scams. My favorite one was me, my brother, and friend making new accounts. Training to about level 7. Finding everyone in the PK world our level and recruiting them. Had like 30 people in our clan. Go into wild and pick out people one by one and command the rest of the people to kill them. So much betrayal. I spent over $100 in long distance charges calling into a Christian radio show in New York. I live in Western Canada. The host would be talking and the callers can be heard over them. I proceeded to play the Fresh Prince Bel-Air theme and also rickrolled everyone. I regret nothing. Felt kind of bad. Because here are these people trying to preach the good word. And instead they got a bunch of basement lurkers playing why this is a story all about how. When I was 14 or 15 I had just learned what batch files were. For those that don't know, it's like a text file that tells your command prompt what to do. I would make a batch file that would delete several important files requiring formatting of Windows. And I would disable the confirmation message. Then I would set the computer to shut down in 30 seconds and display a message like haha computers ducked, you got PW end. So I would go into AOL chat rooms and pretend to be a girl. People would DM me asking me for pics. I sent the batch file which would show up as a super sketchy link lol. I would tell them it's a slidder show and just click it pussy. The dumber ones would. And they would type angry things in all caps at me. And go offline 30 seconds later. So much laughter.